So to summarize the movie, Indy's owner, Todd, is sick. He has been for quite some time to the point that his sister Vera is deeply worried. He's in and out of the hospital and she calls constantly. And it becomes so constant that because Todd is getting sick of all this fuss, sick of his identity being absorbed by whatever is going on with him, he decides to move into his grandfather's house, which is somewhere up in the sticks, very rural, none but really trees around. And he takes his dog, Indy, there. And while Todd is able to get some peace and quiet, unfortunately for Indy, between whatever's going on in the basement, Todd, being sick and kind of angry and getting agitated, a lot of fears begin to manifest themselves for Indy, and some of them become physical in a way that could potentially not only threaten them, but maybe also Todd. So getting to the review section, when it comes to the highlight, it's really just, admittedly, this is not a scary movie, but because Indy's a dog, you kind of get how it specifically is scared with a keen sense of smell, senses beyond human understanding. What Indy can pick up that Todd can't, and of course you as a viewer can't, makes it so when they see a dark figure, when they are sniffing around and something seems off, you get that there could be something around the corner, and it kind of sets you up mentally for a jump scare. But at the same time, you also have to factor in the fear of, when it comes to Indy's mindset, they recognize their owner is sick. They're a dog, so they can try to be there, but they're virtually helpless. And on top of that, Todd is not taking this well. So at sometimes he is the villain because he's being mean. He's kind of pushing Indy away. And he's showing a side to him that being that Indy's been with Todd since they were a puppy is foreign to them, is scary to them, is like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And then when you add in the factor of being that Indy has been raised by this man and knows Vera, who is Todd's sister to a point, but isn't somebody they necessarily, take long extended times with, it makes the idea of Todd actually dying, which I feel like Indy has enough of a concept that is a possibility of. I feel like that is also part of the fear, that when they see this dark figure, it may not be whatever's in the basement. It may be Todd, it may be the Grim Reaper, and it makes it so that you kind of feel bad for this dog because it doesn't exactly know what's going on. It just knows that something bad is going on, something bad can happen, and it's going to deeply affect them. They just don't specifically know how, which leads it on the fence topic. And the issue that we see when it comes to Good Boy is that Indy's a dog, and while we enjoy dogs as much as the next person, it can't talk, it can make whimper sounds, it can make kind of facial expressions, but being that, like most people, I'm trained to see dogs as cute animals, mainly for family films and stuff like that. It's hard to kind of switch that to when you see Indy kind of raise his eyebrows or make whimper noises to now recognize it as a fear response. Never mind, and this is probably the big issue when it comes to Good Boy, you never get the sense that Indy is truly in peril. There's never the sense that somebody's going to actually harm this dog. Maybe they may scam a little bit, maybe a little jump, but as for them being hurt or even potentially killed, that never seems like an option. So then when it comes to Todd and Vera, they're the two humans you can kind of picture this happening to, but the problem with them is there's not really a strong reason to get invested. Todd's whole definition as a person, character development, however you want to put it, it doesn't go beyond being Indy's owner who's sick. When it comes to Vera, she doesn't evolve beyond being Todd's sister who's worried about him. And because there's such thin characters, and Indy's a dog, so they can't really develop themselves or have a third party do so, it makes it so there's nothing really to latch on to here. And then when you add in that the villain is potentially a fear of Indy's and not an actual thing or person possibly, it just adds another reason why, even though this movie's only about an hour and 12 minutes, it can feel so much longer because the hook is how cute this dog is and something potentially happening to it. But once it becomes clear that's not going to happen, it's like, okay, so then what's supposed to keep me attached to what's going on screen? Hence why when it comes to Good Boy, we have mixed feelings about it. It's a good idea, it's an interesting idea, but unfortunately, it seems like it had no intention of going as far as it needed to do in order to really get you in your feelings, get you worried about Indy, maybe even its owner or extended family. And because of that, it doesn't necessarily have something going for it that can make it go from an interesting idea to a good idea to potentially a great film. And that's why I would say this is partly distributed by Shudder. So when it comes on Shudder, if you have Shudder, is worth seeing. But if you're talking about just seeing this on its own, paying $10, potentially $20 to rent it or buy it off of Amazon or whatever, I wouldn't necessarily do that.